I said nothing when he mocked my body. 3 years later, he couldn't even recognize me. The last time I saw Daniel before that day, he laughed at me. Not a nervous laugh, not an accidental one, a laugh meant to make other people join in. He looked at me and said, "You should probably stop wearing things like that. Not everyone is built for it." Everyone around him laughed, and I did what I always did. I smiled, I pretended it didn't hurt. I said nothing. 3 years later, I walked into the same room. He looked directly at me, and he had no idea who I was until I said his name. My name is Emily, and for most of my life, I was the person people overlooked. I wasn't the prettiest girl in the room. I wasn't the loudest. I wasn't the type of person who entered a place and immediately got everyone's attention. And honestly, I was okay with that. Or at least, I told myself I was. Growing up, I was always the funny friend, the person people liked being around because I could make anyone laugh. But there was one problem. People loved my personality, while constantly reminding me they didn't love my appearance. It was always disguised as a joke. "You have such a pretty face. You'd look amazing if you lost some weight. You'd be dangerous if you just took better care of yourself." They said those things like they were compliments, like they were doing me a favor. The worst part was, after hearing something enough times, you start saying it to yourself. I stopped buying clothes I actually liked. I avoided pictures. I learned how to stand behind people in group photos. I became an expert at making myself smaller. Not physically, emotionally. Then I met Daniel. At first, he seemed different. He was confident, funny, the kind of person who could make an entire table laugh. And when he liked someone, he made them feel like they were the only person in the world. At least, that's how it felt at the beginning. Daniel told me I was beautiful, and I believed him, because when someone spends years feeling invisible, being seen feels like love. But slowly, the compliments changed. It started small. "You looked better yesterday. I think that dress would look nicer on someone with a different shape. Are you really ordering that?" Every comment had an excuse. He was just being honest. He was just helping me. He was just joking. And because I cared about him, I accepted things I shouldn't have. I convinced myself that love sometimes sounded harsh. I convinced myself that being hurt was the price of being chosen. The moment I finally understood who Daniel really was at his friend's birthday party. There were about 20 people there. Most of them I didn't know. I was wearing a dress I actually loved. For once, I wasn't trying to hide. I remember looking in the mirror before leaving and thinking, maybe I don't have to apologize for taking up space. When I arrived, Daniel smiled, but not because he was happy to see me, because he was looking at what I was wearing. "You wore that?" I laughed awkwardly. "What?" He looked me up and down. "I don't know, I just thought you'd choose something more flattering." A few people nearby heard, and they laughed. I should have said something. I should have defended myself. I should have walked away. But instead, I smiled. That embarrassing little smile people make when they are trying to convince everyone, including themselves, that they aren't hurt. Then Daniel said, "You know, Emily, confidence is great, but sometimes confidence doesn't match reality." The people laughed, and something inside me went quiet. Not broken, quiet. Because in that moment, I finally realized something. The person who loved me didn't actually want me to love myself. I went home that night. I didn't fight with him. I didn't cry in front of him. I didn't give him the satisfaction of seeing how much it hurt. The next morning, I ended the relationship. Daniel thought I was being dramatic. He told our friends I was too sensitive. He said he was only joking. But I knew the truth. A joke stops being a joke when someone has to hold their pain so everyone else can laugh. The first few months after the breakup were difficult, because leaving someone doesn't automatically remove everything they made you believe about yourself. I still heard his voice sometimes. "You're not that attractive. You should try harder. You'd be better if..." But slowly I started rebuilding. Not for Daniel. Not to prove him wrong. For myself. I started exercising. Not because I hated my body. Because I wanted to feel strong. I learned about nutrition. I changed my routines. I started taking care of myself the way I had always taken care of other people. The biggest change wasn't my appearance. It was the way I carried myself. I stopped apologizing before speaking. I stopped hiding in photos. I stopped asking if I was allowed to exist. 3 years passed, and my life became something I never expected. I had a job I loved, new friends, a healthier relationship with myself. And most importantly, I no longer needed anyone's approval to feel valuable. Then came the company event. I almost didn't go. It was a networking event with people from different industries. I wasn't expecting anything. I just wanted to support my coworkers. Until I saw him. Daniel, standing across the room. Older, a little different, but immediately recognizable. My heart didn't race. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was just surprised. Because I realized something. The person who once had so much power over my feelings was now just a stranger from my past. He walked past me at first, then stopped. He looked confused. "Excuse me." I smiled. "Hi, Daniel." His face changed. Like someone had turned on a light. "Emily?" I nodded. And for the first time in years, he had nothing to say. "You look," he stopped himself. I knew what he was going to say. Different, better, unrecognizable. But I didn't need to hear it. "How have you been?" I asked. He looked uncomfortable. "Good. I didn't recognize you." I smiled. "I know." There was a silence. The kind where someone wants to say something, but doesn't know if they deserve to. Finally, he said, "I was horrible to you back then. I didn't expect that." He looked down. "I thought I was helping you." I nodded. "I know. But I wasn't." "No." He apologized. A real apology. No excuses. No, "I'm sorry you felt that way." Just an apology. And strangely, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel like I had won. Because the truth was, I had stopped needing him to understand. A lot of people think revenge is making someone regret hurting you. But I learned something different. The greatest revenge is when the person who broke your confidence becomes someone who no longer has the power to affect it. Daniel didn't fail to recognize me because my appearance changed. He failed to recognize me because I was no longer the person he convinced me I was. The girl who stayed silent. The girl who apologized for existing. The girl who thought being chosen was the same as being loved. She was gone. And honestly, I think that's the person Daniel never expected to meet.